Imagine losing all your fortune you built up to this day. What would you do? How would you feel losing all your money? Not very good, I suppose. But it is not impossible. Many individuals are actually currently experiencing misfortune. A great example would be Anil Ambani, a former billionaire who was once the world's 6th richest person, whose prime has passed him by when his $42 billion net worth fell down to zero in a flash. Mr. Anil is now down to his last penny, known to be the youngest sibling of Mukesh Ambani, the richest man in Asia. He informed a UK court that his net worth had fallen to zero in 2020 and disclosed to Chinese banks that he was in a state of bankruptcy. For your peace of mind, the man is fine, just in case I made you worry. Nonetheless, it is a perfect example of a billionaire losing everything. And for you to avoid the same mistake Mr. Anil did with his fortune, let us talk about 15 ways to effectively preserve your money. Are you ready? Let's go! Welcome to Finance Bliss. Number 1. Be good at financial management. This one is so apparent that it has to be the first one. And think about it, how can you safeguard your riches if you have poor to non-existent money management skills? Being successful at managing finances does more than simply allow you to accumulate riches. It makes it possible for you to keep it. There's a saying that goes like this: making money is only half the battle. Keeping it safe is the other half. Have you heard of it? Well, now you do. Being good at budgeting your finances is by far the most effective approach to manage your money. It's somehow true that budgeting can feel constraining. After all, why would you give up the opportunity to spend your money any way you want? But don't be fooled. Smart budgeting allows you to stay ahead of your money, which helps you to keep the wealth you've accumulated over time. Number 2. Increase your earnings. I'm sure you're wondering what growing my income has to do with keeping it. Let me explain it further. A higher income means you won't deplete your net worth by raiding your savings, getting into debt, or disposing some of your assets. Furthermore, increasing income equals more money to save and invest for even larger returns. Now let's get down to business and talk about how you may increase your revenue. You may negotiate a raise at work, or you could monetize your skills as a writer, editor, or presenter. Turn your interest into a money-generating activity, or start another type of passive income business. Number 3. Choose on where you want to invest wisely. Investing sensibly is another excellent strategy to protect your cash. Here's why. Your riches grow in numbers if you start investing wisely. Smart investments will carry you to point C if you begin at point B, and you will not remain stagnant at point B, or worse, return to point A. This is rather a basic information, and if you don't understand what it means to invest wisely, we've got a video on what we're currently investing in. Click in the top right corner of your screen to watch. Number 4. Expand your wealth. Have you ever heard of the rise and fall of Patricia Kluge's story? Allow me to catch you up. In the 1980s, Patricia was a former heiress and a model who was married to John W. Kluge, who was once worth $5 billion and was regarded as America's wealthiest person. The couple divorced in 1990, and Patricia received an annual settlement of $1 million. Patricia, having been wanting to start a venture of her own, put most of her divorce settlement money into a vineyard, which had a brief period of success before plummeting and losing much of its value. Even some of Patricia's art pieces and jewelry had to be sold at auction. The lesson we can bring from Patricia's story is, rather than placing everything in one place, you should diversify your investments opportunity. As the saying goes, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Spread your investments over multiple markets, such as the stock market or real estate. Number 5. Hire a reputable accountant and follow her advice. Being ahead of the taxman is another excellent approach to conserve money. And what better way to do it than by working with a competent accountant and tax advisor? A certified public accountant keeps up of changes in tax law and other events, and they may advise you on ethical ways to lower your tax obligations and, as a result, help you avoid problems with the IRS, which means you won't have to pay fines that could deplete your financial resources. Number 6. Get insurance policies. Taking care of your assets is a great method to protect your fortune. Even though you may not have given it much thought, the threat of natural disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, hailstorms, or flooding has increased due to climate change, which could affect your residence or investment properties. If you have insurance, it may cost you, but you will be better taken care of. If you don't, you may be left with significant damage and little options. Number 7. Ask for wise legal counsel. Day after day, wealthy people appear in court. It's true that most people say it's lonely at the top a lot of the time, but they probably didn't tell you that there's also a lot of litigation there. Whether you like it or not, the moment you become rich and successful, everyone wants to take advantage of you. Your neighbor, former co-workers, opportunistic strangers, your security detail, and the list goes on. Their primary motivation is to gain entry to some of or all of your riches. And for that reason, you should seek legal advice and surround yourself with the best legal counsels. They will lead you in fending off thieves, assist you in navigating corporate contracts, and, not to mention, they will advise you when to keep quiet before speaking up costs you half of your fortune. Number 8. Create an estate plan. Let me give you not just one, but 5 reasons why estate planning is essential. Estate planning will secure your assets, constitute strategy for carrying on your legacy after you pass away, provide tax benefits, promote your charitable endeavors, and protect your loved ones from probate court. Aren't these excellent strategies to protect your wealth now? Number 9. Carefully choose your trustees and executors. The person you select to serve as your estate's executor or trustee will also have an impact on how you preserve your money. Even while you might feel more comfortable going with a family member because you feel like you know them, this choice could be problematic because family members may have prejudices of their own that could cloud your judgment. Choosing a qualified individual, such as a lawyer, to serve as your trust executor or hiring a trust management firm is the best way to guarantee transparency. Number 10. Sign a prenuptial agreement. You heard that right. Another option to safeguard your wealth is to sign a prenuptial agreement. While a relationship may begin with nothing but butterflies and rainbows, it may end with name-calling and people threatening to slit each other's throats, or at the very least, take each other's property. In contrast, if you had a prenuptial agreement, you would have one less thing to stress about should tough times come, because your assets and investments would be protected. Number 11. Have a will in place. Death is inevitable, even though no one enjoys thinking about it. Hence, preparing a will is fundamental. A will not only permits you to divide your possessions after death according to your wishes, but it also allows you to list your debts. Let me give you a piece of advice. You must keep your will updated if you want your assets to be passed down to your family. By doing so, you can protect your wealth and leave it to succeeding generations according to your wishes. Number 12. Keep track of your resources. The last thing you want is for your assets to slip out of control simply because you lack current paperwork or are unaware of its status. No, doing the unusual is not what this is about. Making copies of critical documents and storing them in a secure location are good starting points. Examples include real estate purchase documents, power of attorneys, retirement contributions, withdrawal receipts from bank accounts, and insurance documents. Having these documents organized and securely kept provides you a firm grip on your wealth. Number 13. Build an emergency fund. Building an emergency fund to cover 3 to 6 months worth of your family's financial needs in the event that you lose your job or become otherwise unable to work is essential for protecting your wealth. You won't damage your net worth by selling off items, taking out loans, or using investment money to cover you if you have an emergency fund in place. Number 14. The beneficiary of your life insurance should not be your estate. Let me explain on this. Your life insurance plan's taxability is greatly influenced by the name of the nominee. If you designate a specific person as the beneficiary, the insurance proceeds frequently won't be subject to taxes. On the other hand, if you chose your estate as the beneficiary, your insurance proceeds will be added to the gross value of your estate and taxed as a percentage of the total. The former is unquestionably the wiser course of action over the latter. Number 15. Support charitable institutions. How does preserving your wealth through donations work? Because of a flaw in American tax laws, giving your wealth to family and others enables you to keep more of it. It is because the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, levies a gift tax on highly valued assets like a house, enormous sums of money, and so on. Nevertheless, there's a limit for this, and under that limit, you can offer gifts without incurring any tax. Any unused asset can be transferred to a family member or another person as a present without paying any taxes. Because in 2022, the maximum gift tax was established at $15,000 yearly for individuals and $30,000 annually for a couple. Having said that, what do you believe to be the best strategy to protect wealth? Drop your thoughts in the comment section right away. We appreciate hearing from each and every one of you. Here's an additional wealth preservation advice for those who watch all the way through. Teach your children to be responsible with money. Take for example the story that involves Cornelius Vanderbilt, a shipping and railroad magnate who bequeathed his oldest son a significant portion of his $95 million wealth when he passed away in 1877. He provided smaller inheritances to each of his other children, but his eldest son received the majority of his inheritance, which they would be worth more than $2 billion. He actually doubled his sizable inheritance throughout the decade after his father's passing, accumulating the largest wealth in the world at the time as he possessed his father's aptitude for business. But in a short period of time, his children and the Commodore's grandchildren has spent nearly all of it. So, what can we conclude from this story? You must impart your financial knowledge and lessons to your children if you want your money to last for several generations. Based from your own experience, tell us about any other strategies you have for protecting your financial assets. Drop in your comments. Thank you for watching. If you thought this video was helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel and become a member of our fantastic community. We appreciate each and every one of you spending time with us today. Until next time.